Radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Rapid Comment Response for January 30th through February the 5th, 2023. Short comments, quick replies. Dumez, my opinion, Cheerios are among the blandest worst cereals you can get. They're not bad, but so much better options of the same price are out there. Recommended Shreddies with a drop of maybe syrup, Canadian maple syrup, Raisin Bran, yummy. Okay, when you talk about blandest cereals, then you talk about Raisin Bran. I would argue, Dumez, that Raisin Bran is far more bland than Cheerios. We talk about bland, maybe not, we're just not talking about the taste, but if it seems like a more exciting cereal than something that's bran. I think if you add bran to anything, it becomes instantly less exciting. I mean, Cheerios has a fucking honeybee on there. It's a cartoon character, right? And you know, maybe you can add a cartoon character to Bran and make it. No, there's no way to zest up Bran. All right, that's my opinion there. So I think, Bran equals bland. Rune Mamba. I love Honey Nut Cheerios. My second favorite after Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Used to mix them together when I was a kid, and it tasted amazing. You know what, Rune Mamba? I don't believe in the mixing of cereals, and I don't believe in the mixing of races. Either one of them's. I like Confederate Crunch. Final Starman 64. I don't collect retro games very much, but when I do, it's usually to play them. It's pretty sad when you can't go back and revisit a game because it's not out on a modern system, and the only way to get an original copy is to pay an arm and a leg. Well, that's what drives the prices of a lot of old games that are just not available through current means. Now, I'm curious as to why this is the case with old Nintendo games, because pretty much you can play a lot of the Mario games, 64 for instance, on just about everything. And you wind up actually, paying a good little bit to play something like Mario 64, because they came out with that Switch Triple that was, I think, $60 with, 3 old N64 games, but that's not the point. When it comes to something that I get asked about a lot, it would be the NCAA games. It would be the early Silent Hill games. I've seen auctions for Silent Hill going upwards of $100. Even Resident Evil, which is a more common game, upwards of $100. And it does suck because you want to play these retro games, but they're in high demand. So at the very least, what you're saying is, if you don't care about having the original copy, there should be an easy way to play a lot of these old games in modern ways. And sadly, it's not through means of actually getting the games by paying. Sadly, it's actually just through things like, emulators and ROMs. And a lot of people don't feel that same way. They don't like ROMs and everything. But yeah, I think if it were easier to get these old games, and a lot of people actually wouldn't go the route of emulators and ROMs, but sometimes that's the only way to play some games. Master System Marsu. Okay, my apologies. I don't know how to pronounce that. Marsu. I'm going to say Marsu. That's probably wrong. Sauce Notification thought I'd say hi. For your information, his video response to me on his channel was even more shocking, but his followers don't even seem to see what's wrong. Talking about 8-Bit Eric and the story about him supposedly shaking hands with Pro Jared and there being some jizzle whizzle on his hands. Since then, he's come by and told me that actually was just, trying to just troll people, or I forget exactly, but it didn't happen. This is his story and everything. And, you can believe that or not if you want to, but I don't know. I don't know what to think when it comes to that. I've told you, if it did happen, I think it's kind of messed up, right? At least wash your hands after doing that before you shake hands with another man or another woman or whatever. But I didn't see your comment on the upload. I didn't see your response. Thanks for stopping by, though. And again, I'm going to call you MSM because I just hate butchering the last name there. Terry W. Wow, so many cereals. Fun fact, when raccoons eat Cheerios, it gives them terrible open windows gas. There's different types of gas. I would shudder to think what raccoon gas sounds like. What about skunk gas? I mean, they smell bad regularly, but when they when they fart, it must be freaking amazing, like a spray fart or something like that. For some reason, when I think about this, I think about that scene in Family Guy when Peter is with Meg, and he's like, and he farts, and it's silent, and he keeps the windows rolled up, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's terrible." He's like, "No, you got to learn. This is what men want. This is what men want." He's trying to teach her that she needs to accept the male farts or something like that. I can't remember exactly that everything happened in the scene, but that was a very, very funny scene. A lot of funny scenes with Meg on the Family Guy. Wolfpack 1. Even though Honey Nut Cheerios admittedly has a little bit of cardboard taste, it is still an S-tier cereal in my opinion. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cocoa, and Fruity Pebbles are also S-tier. The triple S tier used to be a cereal called Cinnamon Crispix, but I don't see it anywhere anymore. Haven't checked online. Probably can find some there. That's an interesting concept. They're S-tier cereal or triple S tier. I think we'll just leave it at S tier, okay? Let's say S tier is the best. There's D, C, B, A, and then S tier. Usually in video games, it's the weapons. Now, what would classify to be an S tier cereal? Taste number 1. But I think it goes beyond taste because I've actually had generic versions of S tier cereals that actually taste a little better than the regular versions. And it's subjective on what tastes better than other cereals. But let's say, quality, let's say even things like the cartoon characters on the box of the cereal. That factors in also. Yabba dabba doo! Hey Fred! Fruity Pebbles has it in a variety of ways. It's a tasty cereal. It's not one of the most well-made cereals, I would say. You got Captain Crunch. You got Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Let's factor everything all together. And let's say we factor in the taste with the character. You could also throw Frosted Flakes in there. Maybe Twix with the bunny rabbit. Maybe not S tier and whatnot. How about I say right now, it's a dead heat. You know what? I'm going to say probably, you'll never get me Lucky Charms. I think Lucky Charms probably overall, when you factor everything together, and it really hurts Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I mean, it really hurts Honey Nut Cheerios not having a more recognizable mascot. But I think probably it's going to be Lucky Charms. But feel free to disagree. I think if I had to choose a S-tier cereal, the most well-known cereal, Lucky Charms, maybe, because I think that tastes a lot better than Fruity Pebbles. Joe Rogan. I've been insane busy, so I haven't commented much. Love the flea market stuff. Oh my God, this is a blast to the past. Rick for president. When it comes to being president, I don't think I'd want to be president. I like keeping a low profile. When it comes to having the power of president, if there's a way you can actually have the power of the presidency, but not, the high profile and everything, like if you could actually just chill and not have to make speeches all the time and go here and go there and be responsible for all this kind of crap, but you still have the same power, that would actually not be that bad of a gig. And it'd be kind of tougher to, do anything really, be at the flea market, They would come by, oh my gosh, the president! And like, oh yeah. I just enjoy flea marketing. But I bet people would still try to fucking lowball me. They would even try to lowball the fucking president, Chico, mate. That's so gross. Wash your hands, wash your ass. And Eric has confirmed the dick tipping touching story with that guy, JKB. Completely unrelated, but did you see that video of Eric coming out as bisexual today? I don't know if he's revealed that before, but I had to rewind it. He just casually drops that knowledge in the middle of a random video. What he does in his spare time, who he does in his spare time, really not my business. It's part of that whole part of YouTube where it's really not relevant as to who or what people stick their, dick in, unless it's someone that's maybe underage. Then that becomes a crime, right? But there are people in this world that would actually view bisexuality or being gay, they would view that as a crime. Or they would try to shame people that just happen to have a preference towards males or females. I do think that is wrong. And if he came out, whatever he came out as, unless he came out as like Erica and started wearing a dress, even then, I don't know. It's just not a relevant thing. But, if he had a scam and he was e-begging on a high level, or if he was trying to con somebody out of something, then I think that might be relevant to really talk about. But I really don't think it's really that big of a deal. Like, in any case, I'm not there. I'm not in the room when he's doing anything with anybody, and thank heavens for that. And you know what else too, Rick? Is Carl Jobst was caught owning multiple WATA-graded games in his collection. So much for exposing them when you're supporting the company. Yeah, classic hypocrisy there. Classic hypocrisy. And believe it or not, when I had an upload, I think, talking about how I think he's worse than Metal Jesus or something like that, I got a lot of pushback. People saying, like, there's no way. This guy's so awesome. He's so cool. Okay, but if you set out to expose, let's say you set out to expose WATA, but then you actually have some of the greater games, that doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like when you set out to expose a company or a chain. Let's say, what's a good example? Let's say, what's that one YouTuber that set basically his whole channel up to be anti-GameStop? And then NASCAR stuff, doggone it. I'd say, Camelot, I almost forgot his name, Camelot331. Let's say if somebody caught a video of him shopping at a GameStop, that would be complete, utter hypocrisy. So you don't fucking do that. How dare you fucking even try to get away with doing that and then actually having multiple WATA-graded games? You can't do both things at the same time. Godark Ill 420. I wouldn't touch Eric's hand even if I saw him wash them properly. Well, I don't like touching anyone's hands unless it's part of a handshake deal and I'm selling someone something. And as I read this, I'm thinking to myself, how many hands have I shaken with people at the flea market and not had access to water to wash them right after? So I liked reading this comment because it made me rethink things at the flea market. I'm not going to extend my hand if I sell an Xbox 360 to somebody, but if they do to me, then I will shake their hand, but then I'll have a bottle of water nearby where I could actually wash my hands off, because you really don't know. You don't know. I mean, maybe they're jerking to Kirkin. Maybe they're fingering their bunghole. You don't know. Maybe it's just like funny to them. They come by, they shake your hand, and they're like, I just have my thumb in my anus. So it's not funny. It's not funny. And right now, some people are going like, I wonder if that guy's hands I shook just had his finger up his butt. Restress97. Okay, so what happened with ProJared? Someone told me that his ex was trying to spread lies about him years ago about the whole open relationship thing he had with her that went downhill. I did hear about the possible club he set up with underage girls, but was also under the impression that was part of the lie. Now he may be part of this too. Don't know if that's true about ProJared anymore. Well, it's like I was saying earlier, Restress, it's really not relevant and worth following, I think, unless it involves the breaking of the law and underage females. And it's very likely that back then, I can't remember a lot about that this ex was trying to make him look bad and terrible, saying that he was talking with underage females. Now, that kind of thing has happened, specifically in the case of, I think, Juwario. And why that happens within this community, or the retro gaming community on YouTube, I think it's just the fact that there's a lot of situations to where these YouTubers are out at conventions, and there's a lot of young females that become fans because maybe they just start watching YouTube and they're underage. And I just don't really feel like talking about that in more detail. But I'll say in that instance, there's no legit proof that came out that ProJared was doing anything with any underage females, to my knowledge. I might be wrong, but to my knowledge, I don't think there was. But that was years back, so my memory's kind of fuzzy on all that. Baltimore Retro Gaming. At first, when you moved away from talking about YouTubers, I wondered why, but I think it's a good thing, honestly. If I constantly looked at someone's character defects, it would probably sour me and give me a negative sense of self, but that's just me. I'm glad you chronicle your flea market adventures, where I'm very active in mine as a customer anyway. There's two sides to it. You're a seller and then you're a customer. If I switch roles and I become a customer and I'm walking table to table, I usually don't do that there because I just don't like being a person that is a vendor there and then going to tables. Now, not to say that I don't have people that I set up as runners that maybe I give deals on because they go to certain tables and look and see if there's anything that I might be interested in that are not directly connected to my table. But I can't tell you there's any solid reason, as it happened. I think I just realized that I hadn't uploaded anything about, or standaloads about YouTubers in weeks and weeks and weeks. And I thought to myself, well, I wonder why that is. When you could at least count on maybe like one or two a week. But I thought it was mostly, looking back, honestly, it was because I was pushed into an ask, and I had so many people requesting me talk about e-beggars, scammers, all the like, and everything on YouTube. And even like channels that were really good, people ask, hey, this is a great channel here. You know, give this channel a shout out. Which sometimes I still do, but I just had to kind of be honest with who I was. And I'm like, I'm really honestly not that invested in and interested in what I think is just mostly bland YouTubers. If I follow people, it's usually actually celebrities or sports stars because they're at least kind of interesting, to me at least. But it's a relative thing as what's interesting and whatnot. There are things I'd like to get back into, like maybe talking about some wrestling stuff, you know, following some wrestling, but I don't have really the time for that. And my channel is actually more honest now because it's a reflection of what I'm interested in as the channel owner. So guess what? That happens to be video games and flea marketing and sports right now. Not saying that I won't change in the future, because every human being changes in the future. They're not always the same person. So people that come by that haven't seen the channel in years, or maybe YouTube has a recommended channel, they come by and they go like, what the hell is this stuff? We think you just talked about YouTubers. Same thing happened years ago when people came by and said, hey, what the hell? You used to talk about The Walking Dead. Where's your Walking Dead uploads? To be honest with yourself, this is not Radical Rapid Fire, is it? I'm breaking the rules. Usually I do these 1-minute responses. But as a YouTuber, anyone that's on YouTuber, just try to be honest with yourself, who you are, and talk about and follow and do things that you want to do.